Coming up on Sports Night,
Men's basketball checks into a loaded Big Ten slate.
women's basketball treks to Bloomington in hopes of securing a spot in the conference tournament.
And wrestling takes on both the Wolverines and the Spartans.
Dude, I'm so happy to be on desk. I'm happy to be alongside you. But our IM teams play on Monday, so let me make this clear. Do not consider me your friend after today. I am going to destroy you.
Well, we may have lost our first IM game by 50 points, but we're better than what our record shows. And I was a DNP last time out, and I'm known as a floor-raising kind of player,
Dude,
so Monday might be different.
DNP, or dude, don't start. Monday will be no different. Listen, I got beat by 30 in my IM debut, so I'm out for vengeance. That's for Monday, though. Let's just focus on tonight, because
It's Sports Night.
Right now.
Welcome back to Sports Night. I'm Brian Buono, making my anchoring debut, hoping for a Jaden Daniels type of rookie year, and I'm joined by the experienced Matt Campbell. We have two great hosts, a packed slate today. Make sure not to go anywhere. It'll be a fun time.
Sports Night's always a fun time, dude. I love yapping and editing on Wednesdays. I love cracking up Raghav in the control room. I see you in there. I love talking football. I love talking softball. I also love seeing Nick Martinelli get buckets, so let's talk about it. Chris Collins and friends finally scooped up that ever-elusive first Big Ten win 2 weeks ago during their getaway trip to Los Angeles. Next on the agenda was to notch their first conference win at home. Standing in their way, however, was a team also hungry for a conference season turnaround, the Penn State Nittany Lions. Northwestern kicking it old school on Retro Night a week ago today, looking to maintain some much-needed momentum. Let's get into the action. And when you think old school, you think a guy like Nick Martinelli would just post up, but nah, he's a sniper. Knocks down the three to put the Cats up by 1, but minutes later, Penn State up 24-23. Reed to Singleton, three ball, book it. A big game for the freshman who finished with 17 points and a career-high 18 boards. Penn State on the attack now. Josh Reed penetrates, drives on Max Green, finishes with this tough lefty layup, cuts the lead to one possession. But on the other end, Nick Martinelli gets into the paint, gets the feed, makes a couple of defenders look like they're on pogo sticks, gets the layup to go. Cats up 45-40 at the break. They padded their lead to 7, but freshman standout Jaden Mingo gets by Jake West for the bucket. Can Penn State make a comeback here? They're knocking on the door of opportunity, but Northwestern slams that same door back in the Nittany Lions' face. Angelo Chiravino! Throw it down, young man. Grown man strength on the break. Angelo with a 20-piece at the Welsh. Nick Martinelli with a 30 count of his own. Gets this and one to drop. Cats up 69-61, and it's all Northwestern from there. That was the start of a 13-2 run. West looking to Martinelli to cap it off, and he does. El Capitan ties his career-high 34 on the night, and that would do it from the Welsh. Good vibes all around. Cats get the win, 94-73.
Northwestern has the hot hand and is taking it into another home matchup, this time against the Washington Huskies. There was a block party in the first. Wesley Yates blocks Nick Martinelli. And less than a minute later, Frank Kepnong blocks Matt Green for one of his 6 blocks in the night, and he knows that he is dominating. Wildcats down 3. Trey Singleton drives to the basket, kisses it off the glass for the and one. Grown man move from the first year. But the Huskies aren't letting up. Left wing Trey from Wesley Yates got it. Washington leads 39-27 at the break. Page into Martinelli. He goes up with it and gets the finish. NU down 14. Minutes later, Page grabs a rebound and puts it back up with a slam. Page is feeling good. He finished the night with 16 points. Page at the line to cut the lead to 10, but Martinelli comes in, tips the ball back into the net, and draws the contact that heads to the charity stripe. But the comeback effort was not enough. The Cats tucked their tails between their legs with the 76-62 final score.
Brian, they say third time's a charm, and the Cats were hoping that would be the case last night in Champaign, but it was not the case. This one got ugly, and it got ugly fast. First half action, Singleton to JR for 3, but this was the only point in the game that this was competitive. Illinois took over and used the 3-ball to do so. Raining trays in the State Farm Center, the Illini knocked down 17 threes in last night's contest. That guy Keaton Wagler had 3, and so did Ben Hummercuss. Threes barrage had NU reeling, and the rival band loves it, but Trey Singleton wasn't ready to give up. Throws this slam down, but this was really the final nail in the coffin. Could you really script a better ending to such a dominant half for the number 5 team in the nation? Everything is falling for this team, while the nation's leading scorer, Nick Martinelli, held to just 2 of 10 shooting. The floater's the only thing that's working for him. Everything is working for Keaton Wagler. Flow State activated, 13 points, 7 boards, 5 assists for the Big Ten Freshman of the Year candidate. The Illini with their largest margin of victory over Northwestern since 1995. NU is yet to beat a conference opponent who's on the road who's worn their traditional color jerseys in the month of February. Iowa is one of the few Big Ten teams yet to wear pink. If they do so this Sunday, it might bring about better luck for the Cats.
On the gridiron, David Braun is forging a new era of Northwestern football. A new offensive staff, a new stadium, and exciting transfers have got the Wildcats optimistic this offseason. Anna Watson has more.
It may be the offseason for Northwestern, but the Wildcats have been far from dormant. Coach David Braun has made several additions, but perhaps none are as important as offensive coordinator Chip Kelly.
Coach Kelly's experience is expansive, whether it be running offense or play calling or as a head coach. I'd be silly to sit up here and pretend like I have it all figured out as a head coach. As a head coach, you're trying to surround yourself with the best and the brightest. I know I have someone sitting to my left that has done it at an extremely high level in terms of coordinating offense, but also as a head coach. I'm growing in that area because he's in the building with me.
From head coaching in the NFL to winning a national championship with Ohio State, Kelly has a wealth of knowledge he can supply to the program.
Understanding the length of the season and things like that are some experiences we have of how to practice and how to peak at the right time and, make sure that when you get there, you're not limping to the finish line, that you've got some health and concerns. That's obviously dependent on your depth, but I think some of those experiences will be applicable hopefully sooner rather than later.
With the team shaping up nicely, Northwestern is looking forward to the start of the season, especially its October matchup with Penn State to open the new Ryan Field.
You even just mentioned it, Matt. Gives me goosebumps. For us not to be excited as an entire program and entire Northwestern community about the opening of new Ryan Field with a Big Ten matchup against Penn State on a Friday night, I can't contain my excitement about that opportunity.
Reporting on Northwestern football, I'm Anna Watson, NNN Sports.
Staying on the topic of football, last week's schedule release had everyone talking. For more on the Wildcats' 2026 opponents, Pearson Strangquist in the side studio with his analysis. Pearson?
Thanks, Brian. The 2026 Northwestern football schedule is finally here, and it is a total roller coaster. We are looking at a road to a bowl game packed with emotional reunions, brutal road stretches, and a massive historic milestone on the horizon. David Braun has a serious challenge on his hands, starting with the non-conference slate that sets a very unique tone for the year. The margin for error is thin. The program likely needs to be great at home and sweep the manageable matchups early just to survive the November gauntlet. Let's get into it. First, non-conference slate. The season opens with a twist. The first 2 home games, September 5th against South Dakota State and September 19th against Colorado, are notably not at the new Ryan Field. The action stays right here on campus on the lakefront at Martin Stadium to kick off the fall. And then this opener against South Dakota State is notable because it's all about the familiarity is the former school of star wide receiver Griffin Wilde. This is a chance for him to prove that his level is actually raised for good in a Chip Kelly system. 2 weeks later, Deion Sanders and Colorado roll into town for the front half of a home-and-home series. But beyond the opponents, the calendar is the real hurdle. Scheduling Ball State for October 10th forces an early week 2 bye on September 12th. Once November's Northwestern kicks off against Colorado, they have to play 11 straight weeks of football without a single break. These first 3 non-conference games are an absolute must-win to get that 6-win minimum. Next on to the away games. Pack your babs. This is a brutal away schedule for the Cats. They start off that post-Colorado stretch off in Bloomington against the reigning national champion Indiana Hoosiers on September 26th. Later in the fall, road trips include visits to traditional powers Oregon on Halloween, Ohio State on November 14th. And that is a massive pair of reunions for new offensive coordinator Chip Kelly, who faces off 2 of his former programs back-to-back on the road, those in which he got to national championships in the past. But the real headliner is October 17th at Michigan State. It's a massive reunion facing facing former head coach Pat Fitzgerald there. Plus, quarterback Aiden Childs transferred into Northwestern from Michigan State, so he'll get a chance for homecoming revenge and against his old team. And the road slate is finally wraps up on November 21st in Minneapolis, where Minnesota will certainly be seeking retribution. Remember, it was their missed field goal at Wrigley Field last season that helped secure Northwestern its bowl eligibility. If they can snag one upset win on the road, the path to 6 becomes a whole lot clearer. Finally, their home schedule. Protecting the home turf at the new Ryan Field will be essential on October 24th. That starts with Rutgers for a key midseason battle, and then mark your calendar for November 7th against Iowa. It's a win or else moment, stuck directly between those grueling road trips to Eugene and Columbus. They need to win that one, and the regular season concludes on November 28th against Illinois. Northwestern has dropped 2 straight rivalry games to the Fighting Illini, and ending that streak very well could be the deciding factor in extending the season into December for the Cats. Now, finally, it goes without saying, Anna mentioned it, finally the moment in years in the making. October 2nd, Northwestern versus Penn State, the inaugural game at the new Ryan Field. The timing is perfect. It is exactly 100 years to the day since the original stadium opened in 1926, and that season, interestingly, also opened against a team from South Dakota. The Nittany Lions will visit Evanston with a new coach in Matt Campbell, who may or not be on desk for us today, seeking to avenge the upset Northwestern pulled off last October that ultimately led to James Franklin's firing. This stadium is a game changer for the entire program, and starting the new chapter with a win would be the ultimate statement. 11 straight weeks, a brutal road gauntlet, and a centennial celebration. The 2026 season is going to be one for the books. The storylines are abundant, and so are the potential ceilings if things go right. Back to you guys.
Thanks for taking us through that analysis, Pearson. The Indiana, OSU, and Ohio State trips will be tough, but man, new stadium, national TV, Penn State on a Friday night, we will be there.
Keep it here, because when we come back, we've got a very special guest returning from the Boondocks to talk some softball with us. Ethan Siegel joins us at the desk after this.
Trying to work my way out of the prison system was the most difficult challenge of my life. It only became tangible once I became a Northwestern student.
One, two, three, four.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back to Sports Night. Hope you all are enjoying this show so far, because I know I am. Matt, how are you feeling at this point?
I'm a little worried about David Braun trying to deal with 3 AP top 5 teams on the road next fall. It's going to be pretty difficult. It's going to be challenging, but I don't think it's as challenging as trying to erase a 36-point deficit inside of Simon Scott Assembly Hall.
Women's basketball traveled to Bloomington, Indiana to take on the Hoosiers. The Cats look to regain momentum after following up his first 2 conference wins with a 3-game skid against UCLA, Illinois, and Nebraska. Women's basketball traveled out to Bloomington Sunday afternoon to take on the 11-11 Hoosiers. Into the first quarter, Nevaeh Caffey dribbles in towards the arc, passes it back to Maya Makaleski. She hits from deep to extend Indiana's lead, which would only grow from there. No glitch in the score graphic. Cats down 18. Journey Kiyaku swings it to Shea Chesky in the corner. She drains the first of her 5 trays of the afternoon. She would have 33 points on the day. In the second quarter, Northwestern down by 30. Jab step from Lene Beaumont. She gets into the key, draws the foul, and gets the bucket to fall. 3-point play for the Hoosiers. Things sprouting out of control for the Cats. Late in the first half, Casey Harder passes to Taylor Thomas. She can't get it to fall from 3, but Grace Sullivan is there on cleanup crew, puts it back up for the and 1. She would lead both squads with 35 points on the night. Northwestern would outscore Indiana 49-34 in the second half, but it would not be nearly enough. The Hoosiers resoundingly beat the Cats 89-75 in Bloomington. It was an admittedly slow start for the Wildcats, but the game was much more even for the next 3 quarters. The Cats return to action at 8 when the squad welcomes USC to the Welsh.
For Northwestern lacrosse, tomorrow brings a highly anticipated number 3 versus number 2 season opener against Boston College. All roads lead back to Evanston this year for the D1 Women's Lacrosse Championships. Coach Kelly Amonte Hiller and Madison Taylor spoke to the media Monday about hosting the Final Four in this upcoming season.
I am so excited about what's happening and this being a big year in Evanston. The NCAA can sometimes be reluctant to give the Final Four to non-East Coast areas where they feel that, is it questionable they're going to draw a crowd? And I think it's our time to show, no, the growth of this sport is here, and doesn't matter who's in the tournament. This is the best lacrosse that you're going to see on the women's side, and we need to show up for it.
Getting a chance to have the Final Four on the Midwest is super awesome, and it's never been done before, so I think that's super exciting, and it definitely pushes us every day, especially just for the younger generation of girls that want to play lacrosse here.
I think that collectively, you got a lot of lessons from last year. You always have ups and downs throughout the season. It may look smooth, but you're always, no matter how good you are, even if you're undefeated, there's always going to be challenges along the way. And so I think for us, just looking at it from a collective perspective, okay, what can we take away?
I'm just excited to play with this new group. It's been so fun, and everyone's super coachable. Obviously, any last season can motivate you, but I'm just excited to play with everyone one last time.
After tomorrow's Final Four rematch against the third-ranked Eagles, Northwestern will host 4 consecutive games at Ryan Fieldhouse beginning on Monday. We're now running a 3-man weave here at the desk. Ethan Siegel joins us here on Sports Night for the first time in a very long time to discuss softball's trip to Phoenix this weekend for the Kajikala Classic. Ethan, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Matt.
So, I think the first thing that we got to hit on is, of course, the glaring hole left in Northwestern's pitching staff with the departure of Lauren Boyd. A 2.30 ERA last season, a top 5 workload in the Big Ten with 125 innings pitched, nearly 120 punchies. Simply put, Ethan, how does Northwestern replace that?
Well, it's going to be certainly very difficult to replace, and Northwestern has been really lucky on the pitching side that they've had an ace for the better part of a half-decade, if not more, going from Danielle Williams to Ashley Miller, followed by Lauren Boyd. And with the way things are shaping up for this 2026 season, it doesn't look like Northwestern is going to have that true ace. It's going to have to be more of a combined effort from pitchers like Riley Grudzelanek, Signe Dose, Emma Blay, Renee Cunningham, who, frankly, last season were very inconsistent, up and down pitchers, so it's all about finding consistency. I don't think we're going to see any of those 4 names throw for 150 innings over the course of the season, but it's all about just getting outs. I don't think any of those pitchers are super high strikeout total pitchers, but all of them can be really good at pitching for contact, especially names like Dose, like Grudzelanek, and it's about early in the season getting into a rhythm, getting into a groove to see who stands out and who this staff can trust.
Ethan, with the Wildcats heading down to Arizona for the Kajikawa Classic, 5 games across 3 days starting tomorrow with an afternoon doubleheader, what are you watching for on this opening weekend of softball?
Yeah, opening weekend, always exciting. We talk about the production loss with Lauren Boyd on the pitching side. Offensively, the hitting side doesn't have to deal with that. Really, Ayanna Lindsay, the outfielder, is the only big name that Northwestern is losing from the offense, and even by the end of last year, she was a part-time player. So a lot of returning bats and a lot of veteran bats for Northwestern, and it starts with a trio of seniors: Bridget Donahue, Kansas Robinson, and Kelsey Nader, looking for a big season from Kansas Robinson, who when she's at her best is a true, genuine Big Ten Player of the Year candidate. Had a bit of a down year last year, that average sitting closer to 250, looking for her to get out of the gate hot. But also just team-wide, Northwestern started really slow last year. The team and the offense needs to be moving along fast early on. And then always looking just for lineup changes, new things in the roster, in the lineup card for Northwestern. Kate Drohan, known to throw a few surprises. I think I have a pretty good idea of what it's going to look like defensively, who we're going to see in the outfield and the infield at those spots. But also, you talk about the addition of a transfer in Indiana Wesleyan's Abby Harvey. Will we see her at the designated player spot? Will we see her in the field? And also, what does her addition do for a player like Ainsley Muno, who is returning in 2026 after missing most of the 2025 season with injury? So it'll just be curious to check out who's in the lineup card on that opening day lineup and who plays throughout the weekend and who maybe gets snubbed and has to spend some extra time on the bench.
A lot of things to talk about when you talk about the personnel of this roster and the catching depth. Some great points made by resident NCAA softball guru Ethan Siegel. Thank you for joining us this evening.
After the break, we check in on how the Cats did on the mats.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Ready, set, Nano!
Hi, Mom. Welcome back to Sports Night.
Hi, Matt's mom. Hope you're enjoying Sports Night.
She is. I think she is, at least. She actually texted me during the break, and I know you're not supposed to do this. But Mom always comes first. So let's see what she said. She says, hi, Matt. Oh, holy smokes. Hi, Matt. Love the show so far. Yeah, I hear you guys laughing in there. Just two things. One, don't ever wear an Oxford shirt again. Your neck is too thick and the collar's too thin. It can't hide the tie. I could see it poking out, okay? Two, do you guys have a wrestling team still? I haven't heard you talk about them yet. Yes, Mom. We have a wrestling team here still. We just haven't been able to talk about them. Actually, let's do that right now.
We got you, Mrs. Campbell.
For the Cats on the mats, it's been rough going since their season opening victory over Maryland back on January 9th with 3 straight losses. Northwestern saw better days up in Ann Arbor last Friday. The Wildcats walking into the den of Cliff Keen Arena, their 4th ranked opponent in a row, but the Wolverines felt no sympathy. Northwestern had to saddle up, and they did. Sean Speidel picked up a major to start things off. Billy DeCraker to follow. He pays for the bad shot on the low-high single. Dylan Rogson turns it around on him. He answered the call with a major decision win of his own. Unfortunately, Michigan was just too much for the Cats. 13th ranked Bone Manitoba starts off the bout with a quick 3 against Eddie Enright. He won by major decision as well. Northwestern completely outmatched by the upper tier of the Big Ten once again. The Wolverines come away with a 38-4 win on senior night.
Northwestern traveled to East Lansing this past Sunday to take on Michigan State in the home stretch of the regular season. We'll pick things up here in match 3, where Dedrick Navarro holds a slim lead over Nick Corday. After Corday secures riding time, all Navarro needs to do is prevent a takedown, and he does it, giving NU its first 3 points of the duel. Northwestern now down by 9 in match 5. Billy the Craker with good positioning and a commanding lead against Jace Morgan in the third, and the Craker finds the pin. Northwestern with a huge fall at 141 pounds to cut the deficit to 4. However, a match later, and the Cats would find themselves in a tough position. Michigan State's Clayton Jones dominated against Austin Hibler and secures the 6-point fall. The final match of the day now, J.D. Perez being another pin to send the duel to a tiebreak decision for NU, and he comes up short. Ryan Boucher is a little too slippery for the senior. Boucher loses the match, but ensures the duel victory for the Spartans. Northwestern loses the duel 22-20 and falls to 3-6 on the season, still searching for that elusive second conference win. The wrestling team will continue its road trip when it faces off against the Cornhuskers in Nebraska on Sunday.
Moving on to other results, Northwestern men's golf opened its spring season with a victory at the Gantner Cup last Saturday, taking down Michigan State at Mountain Lake Country Club in Florida. The women's squad placed 7 out of 18 teams in the 3-day Puerto Rico Classic last weekend, fueled by a top 5 600-par finish from Diana Lee. Turning to tennis, the men's team went 3-0 in the weekend, while the women's team split their weekend in Tennessee. And finally, 6th-ranked Northwestern women's fencing saw action at the Schiller Duels, finishing 11-1 overall with 3 ranked wins.
Swimming and diving concluded their regular season campaigns this past weekend, competing in a head-to-head against Minnesota and Purdue. The number 20 men's team defeated Minnesota 214-139 and Purdue 181-172. The number 23 women also defeated Purdue 213-140, but fell to Minnesota 186 with the regular season in the rear view. The Cats will gear up for the Big Ten championships. The women will compete from February 18th to the 21st in Minneapolis, while the men's action takes place from February 25th to 28th in Madison, Wisconsin.
Last weekend, women's cross country traveled to South Bend, Indiana to take part in the Mio Invitational. Northwestern's team performance was highlighted by 2 program records finally falling. Anna Hightower competed in the Mio Mile in just over 4.5 minutes. She finished that, beating her personal best by 20 seconds. Sky Ellis broke the program record in the 800-meter run by 3 seconds. The Cats will take the week to kick up their feet and relax. Their next 2 meets are set for February 13th and 14th. And here is where you can catch those Cats.
On Friday, lacrosse makes its great return to Massachusetts to face off against number 3 Boston College at 4 p.m. Central.
Then on Saturday at 7:15 p.m. Central, softball also back in action, taking a trip to Arizona to play the Sun Devils.
And men's basketball is also on the road at Iowa on Sunday for yet another Big Ten matchup. That one is at 2 p.m. After the break, it's everyone's favorite segment, Plays of the Week.
I'm Kelly McEvers, founding host of the NPR podcast Embedded.
I'm James Edwards, host of the Unresolved podcast from Frontline.
I'm Antonia Cereijido, former senior producer of Anything for Selena podcast and current executive producer at Elias Studios.
My narrative, since I've been locked up and kind of made my transition, has been like redemption, accountability.
When I come into the classroom environment, every individual that sits amongst me takes education seriously.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back. We're in the home stretch, which means my attention is slowly turning towards Super Bowl Sunday.
Really, dude? I don't want to think about Drake May being on my screen in 3 days. Please stop.
Me personally, I am praying on Drake May's downfall. He's not good. He got carried by his defense all postseason. His nickname sucks, and for being honest, Josh Allen is way better.
Honestly, I agree. Seeing this fraud Drake May throw a pick six to Devon Witherspoon is going to be the highlight of my week. And watching it on SportsCenter's Top 10 the next morning might be even better.
Well, we have our own kind of thing similar to SportsCenter Top 10. It's Plays of the Week.
Roll it. Roll it. Let's go. Let's go. Plays of the Week, everybody's favorite segment. Number 3. To Northwestern's game versus Washington, Jake West, a fancy dish to the perimeter. Trey Singleton attacks the hoop with conviction, gets the and one, falling down. Cats lose 76-62 to the Huskies.
Number 2, Northwestern Penn State men's hoops. Singleton finally down the court and get the layup, but Cheravino on the follow. He was electric in that one, finishing with 20 points on the evening.
Here we go, folks. Number 1. Going back to the same game, how about some more Angelo? In transition, he's feeling good. Boom! That man is athletic. He's a monster. What a play.
That was a great break from our Drake May slander session. But I'm not done. He sucks. He had the weakest schedule of anyone in the league. He had 80 yards in the ASC championship game. He scored 10 points and won because he played Jarrett Stidham. You know what? I'm gonna start calling him Drake the Schedule May.
Dude, I don't like Drake May. He sucks. He's a fraud. I agree with you. I hate the guy too, but it's time to let it go. Please save it for Sunday because we are out of time.
Okay, you know what? Fine. You're right. I'm done.
Okay. Let's end the show, please, and just calm down. Okay?
I
cool with that? Be sure to follow us on Twitter or X, whatever you call it nowadays, at NNN Sports, and on Instagram on NNN_sports. For Brian Bono and the rest of our team, I'm Matt Campbell. Good night, Chicago.